Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. We've got some really exciting news to share with you. We are not renewing our lease. We have bought a toy hauler. We purchased a truck and we are going on the road racing and riding all across this country, and we can't wait to tell you all about it. So with the 2024 season coming to a close and the 2025 Loretta Lynn's Amateur National schedule being posted, Gina and I have been kind of really mulling this over and considering what it would be like for us to just go all in and live our dreams. So now with this schedule out, we're going to kind of share with you how we came to this conclusion, what the plan is for 2025, so that you can follow along with us. Gina, what's going on here?
Okay, so backstory first. Let's start there. So last year, for those of you who don't know, we went off the couch and made it all the way to Loretta Lynn's. And while we were there, we discovered that there is a different level of racing that we unlocked and didn't know existed. So we loved it so much, we decided that we really want to be a part of it and we want to dive deeper into this sport. We've been having the best time growing this channel and traveling around and having amazing experiences together. So we thought, why not go all in?
So the first part of our journey will be starting in January at none other than Club MX. So this is a really awesome story about how this came to be. One of the things that it is challenging to do in the Northeast, as any Northeast rider knows, is to ride and continue to train and kind of like stay fit and focused through the winter. It's really challenging. The snow, the weather, you could do your best, but most of us know that you're going to the gym. I've always kind of wanted to know what would happen if we trained year round and moved south. So we had a couple different variations of what we were going to try to do. But as this universe kind of like was guiding us along the way, we were watching motocross middle of this year, I think. And as we're watching some interview for Club MX, this man pops up on the screen and, we're watching and I was like, Gina, do you have somebody in your family who is involved in motocross? And she's like, no, I don't think so. She's never really, she's like new into the sport a couple years and, no one from my family would be in it. I'm like, well, this guy's got your last name and he kind of looks like your father. So we were joking about it for a little bit. And we did a little research and asked, Gina's dad at one of our family, it was actually at our wedding. It was our wedding rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
And we're like, do you have a Mike Bonacci in the family? And he was like, oh yeah, it's a cousin Mikey or something like that. So it turns out we had an in, right away, just somebody to talk to. And when we were at Loretta's, we kind of stopped by the Club MX tent. Mike was there, and Gina talked to. Do you want to tell this part, like how you talked to him?
Yeah, so we were basically laughing about how, it probably is like a long distant cousin or something. And then it turned out to actually be a cousin. So, we went to Loretta's and my grandpa had found a picture of basically my father's grandpa and Mike Bonacci's grandpa, who are brothers. And so we brought the picture to him and we showed it to him and he got a kick out of it. And we ended up talking for a while and he was excited to know that there was another, Bonacci who's into motocross. He was excited to hear that Pat was there to race and we weren't just there to spectate. And so we got to chatting a little bit and, he said if we ever wanted to come down to let him know. So we did. We reached out and we're going to be heading to Club MX in January. So we're so excited about that. So Club MX is essentially going to act as our home base for the winter. We're going to be there from January to March, all while doing some qualifying races for Loretta Lynn's.
All right, so what's that schedule look like? Let's fill everyone in on where we're actually going to be looking to qualify, the area qualifiers and the regionals, like while we're down there, like what our schedule is going to be. So you can follow along with us.
Yeah, so for those of you who followed along last year, we ended up doing 2 different regions for Loretta Lynn's. We did Northeast and Mideast. Well, this year it's cool because the Southeast area qualifiers actually happen much earlier in the season because the weather is warmer. So we're able to get some gate drops and racing in before we head back up to New York. So those qualifiers that we are planning to do our Gatorback Cycle Park, which is one of the Southeast area qualifiers. And then Birch Creek is a Northeast area qualifier, but it's in Virginia, so that'll be a good one to do on our way back up. And then we're heading all the way over to Baja Acres for the Mideast qualifier before we come back across to our second home base, which will be in New York, a local track. And do you want to tell them where it's going to be?
I do. And I just kind of want to go back real quick because I want to talk about how one of the most exciting parts of, I feel like, this year, 2024, was getting out of our comfort zone to visit tracks that I'd never really even heard of, and like experiencing new tracks and people from all over the place. Like, we're really excited these are all new tracks. I've never ridden any of these tracks. We've never been to any of these tracks. So we're just really kind of like excited to go meet all of you all over the place from these tracks. I wanted to touch about how excited we are to go, to Gatorback and Baja Acres. Like, cannot wait to go do that and come see everybody.
Yeah, so if you have not watched our Is Loretta Lynn's Worth It video, I'm going to put it up here. But basically, what we wanted to touch on in that video is how much the experience is actually just as big of a part of it as the racing for us. So we're really using the Loretta schedule to have a really amazing year-long experience together.
Absolutely. Yeah, the racing is amazing. And don't get me wrong, it's kind of like the thread that holds this whole kind of sweater together. But the experiences and the people and the relationships that we're creating and making and keeping along the way, it really just puts it all together and makes it so fun. So yeah, we definitely want to touch on that and check the schedule, see where we're going to be, and if you're going to be there, then come say hello, because that's just as big a part of it as the racing. But to lead back into where we're going once we come back up to New York, because again, we're not renewing our lease. We are out of here in 2 weeks. I'm sorry. We're out of here in 2 weeks. And it's just been this whirlwind of like amazing things happening, one after the next, really kind of guiding us along the way. And one of those things was, a good friend of ours and the head of our MSC, Metropolitan Sports Committee, here in New York, Jamie Slaughter, also owns one of the tracks, which is also a Loretta Lynn's area qualifier. And so through this relationship, we kind of told him our crazy ideas all last year. And definitely, one of the people we were going to go to with this idea was Jamie, because he gets it. He gets, trying to go big and big ideas and putting things together. He really enjoys it as much as we do. So he was one of the first people we went to with this idea before it was even actually something we considered moving forward with. And so he's been gracious enough to offer us a camper hookup at Diamondback for most of, if you will, the middle, at least as far as we know, of 2025, so that we could still do, we also own Digital Musicians, which is a DJ company. That's how we kind of like right now we're affording to do this. So we have weddings booked for next year. So we're going to be able to come back up to New York, do these weddings while also living and still continuing our training at one of the most amazing, I think, venues that we have, definitely in our district, if not the whole Northeast. So just a shout out to Jamie and a big thank you for helping us make this possible, because I don't know that we could do it without, a place to stay. And we couldn't really ask for a better place to stay or a better human to kind of work with. So just a huge shout out to you and thank you, because that's where we're going to be. We're going to be rocking Diamondback motocross for the middle, at least, of this year. So while we're up here, where are we going while we are back up in New York? What regionals are we hitting? What's the plan?
Yeah, so again, the regionals, we're doing 3 regions. So the first one on the list in terms of date order is Ironman Raceway. So we are super excited to go there. Neither one of us have been there before, and I think Pat's really excited to race that one.
See if I can hit Godzilla. The big, I just send it, 450, send it. New bike this year, pinned. See what happens.
Yeah, and then the second one is Southeast. So that will be in June at Lake Sugar Tree Motorsports Park, another one we have never been to.
But the GoPro videos look amazing.
Yeah, we've been looking that one up. That looks like really fun. So we're hoping that we end up going there to race because that looks like a great time.
And what's the Northeast? What's the last one that we're going to?
This one we are so pumped about because honestly, this track is one of the first places we went and camped in our van just as spectators when we first met, but it is none other than Unadilla. So we are pumped to go to Unadilla to race versus spectate, and I know Pat is like so amped about this one.
I can't wait. I actually was fortunate enough back in the day. I think it was 99, 98, 99, something like that. It was the last year that they actually let the amateurs race the national track before they built U2, which is like the amateur track that everyone races on now. So I've actually raced the track before, and it's just so gnarly. So the fact that, we get the opportunity, hopefully get out of the area qualifier and make it to the regional this year to have the opportunity to ride that track again is just going to be awesome. So historic, and it's literally one of my absolute favorite tracks.
Yeah, so while Diamondback is going to be our home base, we're going to be pretty mobile in the months of April, May, and June in preparation for the Loretta Lynn's AMA National, which we are hoping to go back to this July.
Yeah, we're definitely hoping to make it back to the ranch this year for sure. Last year was just so surreal. It was really an amazing experience, but things were happening very, very quickly. Again, we were right off the couch, hadn't raced in, almost basically a decade of really competitive racing. And we just had this idea of let's go see if we can do it. And so learning the process and still trying to kind of compete at the same time was wild. It was for me as a racer, it was wild, but I loved every bit of it. So now to go back with a year experience and kind of hopefully be a little bit, calmer, maybe more prepared, but equally, if not more so excited. I'm really, really amped to try to increase what we did as far as our goals. So last year, for any of you that that don't know, we ended up making it to the ranch on the line as the literal last alternate on the gate. So my goal was my real goal was to be any of the other alternates, to try to make it into the group of people who actually qualified, because that's ultimately the goal, is to really qualify, get the ticket at the track, not make it as an alternate. Fortunate as we were to be there, I wanted to kind of see what we could do if we could really get into the mix with people who qualified. And we did that. We finished 29th. So we were there. And this year, we had a wild goal, like a really big goal, to see if we could go from 29th or 30th or whatever we were running, to see if we could get into the top 10 at Loretta's, top 10 in the country in our class. Is that possible in such a short period of time, given the level of talent in that class? There are some real legends in that class. They take this very, very seriously. They're they're beasts. They're, really monsters on a bike, and very, very skilled. So I would love to know, I've always wanted to know what could be done if we really, really put our minds to it. So a goal that big, we felt needed a commitment just as big, which is kind of why we're doing this. So we're going to try to not only make it, but really see if we can get ourselves to the position where we're in shape enough and prepared enough to get into the top 10 in our class. So those are our goals for 2025.
Yeah, and that's something we really noticed while being at Loretta Lynn's, is that the people in the top 10 are really racing and riding full time. They're not taking much of a break. So we sort of realized, like, okay, if we want to get to this level, what will we need to do? We need to make this a full-time commitment. And I think both of us were so excited about the idea of that, that we were ready to just jump in and see how we could make that happen together.
Yeah, and the truth is that they really do. A lot of them, we've learned, kind of take this commitment to such a high level where they're training and riding all year. And if they're not able to, like some of the people who finished in the top 10 last year, they're actually from the Northeast, just like I am. And some of them go south, some of them don't, but the commitment level is there. And so what we're kind of feeling, or what I'm feeling as a rider, is that there's a certain pedigree. Like a lot of the riders, if you're listening to this, you might understand. There might be people at your local track who have just been at a very high level for a long time. Maybe they raced the nationals back in the day and they just never really lost it. There are certain people that I race with in my district that they don't have to touch a bike for months, years. They could just come back and they're winning. They're just at a very, very high level. We have a few legends in our district, you know, the Carlo Cohens, Kurt McMillan, Mike Spear, you know, people who, Barry Carson, like, they just are what they are. They have a certain pedigree to them. And so the thing that's most exciting, I think, for myself, for us, is like, and this is not a dig on myself, but I don't have that pedigree. I was a local racer my whole life and never traveled, never did anything, and always wanted to know, again, what could be done if I put more effort into it, you know? So knowing what the pedigree is of those riders, we're trying to close the gap very, very quickly. That usually might take years of consistent, you know, work to do. So while we're trusting the process, we just want to see what we can do going all in together as a team, to see what we can't get done.
Yeah, so that'll pretty much take us all the way to the first week of August, where we will head back to Diamondback MX for the second portion of the race and wedding season. And then our plan is to wrap up the local district and then head down south again. So we're basically starting where we're finishing back at Gatorback for Minios. So
that's right. I forgot about Minios.
Yeah, so we're so excited. This year we didn't do Minios, but we were down in Florida while Minios was going on, and we were watching it on TV and looking at each other like, okay, next year we're so in for this.
We've
so
gotta do this. Like turkey and motocross, come on.
Yeah, so we've never done it. We'd love to hear your Minios experiences. Also, do you love it? Do you go? Leave it down in the comments below. Let us know what you think. We've never been there, and we're so excited to try that one out.
Yeah, here's what I would love. And again, constructively, the best you can, like Minios versus Loretta's. Those are the two big ones. Those are the two big, you know, amateur locals or amateur nationals, at least that I'm aware of. What is your experience? If you've gone to both, what do you like more and why? And if you love them both, then share why, because I think that we're going to love them both. And we want to make sure that everyone's kind of getting the positives out of both of those things. So I would love to hear like what the positive version is of one versus the other while we're kind of going into it this year, never having done Minios.
I would also love to know what it's like to be at the racetrack on Thanksgiving. Like, are we making turkeys? Are we like doing potlucks? Like, what happens down there? You know, I mean, everyone there is obviously sacrificing the holiday with their regular family, like, or extended family, or bringing them. So yeah, from my perspective, I'd love to know your experiences having the holiday itself down at Minios. And that's something I'm really looking forward to hearing from people on.
So again, we are really, really excited to be taking each one of you along with us on this journey. Again, it's going to be so exciting for us to kind of share this with you. What's coming up next? The next step, we are going to have trucks shipped up from Florida. That's going to be on the way this week because the van, the good old Chevy Express, it doesn't have the towing capacity to tow the size of this toy hauler that we got. So we ended up, we have a truck coming from we bought Gina's father's truck, who was in the market to get rid of his truck. That all worked out very synchronistically. So we have that truck coming up on the way. We're selling our van, and we're going to pay for and pick up the camper in the next week, I believe. So we're going to take you along with all of these things as they happen, so you can literally feel like you're right, you know, behind the handlebars with us.
Yeah, we can't wait to take you with us. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along with us on this journey, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.